How's everybody doing? It's definitely a really nice day. Um, having my coffee, sorry about that. I figured I'd show you one of my little collections. Today I'm going to work in the garden though. Um, this is my collection of coral. This is all stuff I picked up over the last year and a half. I'll show you our favorite piece after I lay it all out and see what you guys think. This is actually a little very worn cameo ring, it seems like. So this one right here, it's in 14 karat gold, this bracelet. I bought that at Lambertville for $10. It looks like it's almost plastic, but it is a really good quality coral. My favorite piece is the angel. Definitely Victorian, probably Italian, but the detail is just amazing on it. Got a bunch of cameos. See this one with the light pink, the quality is nowhere near as good as the other stuff. It's kind of why I put it in the box to show you guys. It's a nice carved necklace, but you definitely want that dark nice, not dyed red. This almost looks like it could be dyed, but I don't think it is. It came from a nice old I actually got that with the cherub. This was actually a neat story. The lady who I got this from, her great grandfather worked in the New York City gold I guess section on, I don't know if it was 57th Street then or 47th Street then, but somebody owed him money and gave him a bunch of cameos, and this was one of the cameos from that collection that her great-grandfather had gotten. She didn't want to sell any of the other ones, but I was happy that she gave me, or let me purchase the angel. I would guess there was probably $15,000-$20,000 worth of cameos, but she had it nicely displayed, and that kind of didn't go with her collection. It was more like the faces like this that were flat. But those are my two favorite, and hopefully you guys thought this was kind of fun. I'll try to show you some more treasure. The rest of the video is going to be about getting the garden ready and planting. So, thank you. Hey, how's everybody doing? So, today we're going to look at the massive amount of seeds I bought for the garden. It's definitely was fun trying to figure out, like, I don't know, things we wanted to grow. Definitely wanted some vegetables, and flowers were the two I don't know, ideas we had. So this is the massive box. That's why we're making such a big garden. What I'm trying to do today is figure out what I should germinate first without starting it in a plug, because if you start them in a tray and then transfer them in the plug, it just saves a lot of space where you want to germinate. your plants. Onions are always good to start early. They transplant well. I got 1, 2, 3 different types of onions. I don't know what that is. I think that's a flower. That's definitely a flower. Eggplant. Yeah, that can transplant easy. I don't eat a lot of eggplant though. Squash. Squash is actually one of those ones that they have a delicate root system, so you want to start that in a cell. I'll show you what type of cell I would start those in. Pumpkins, I don't know if we'll have room for those, maybe. I didn't order all these seeds. Definitely had some help by my helpers, but another squash. Buttercup winter squash, that's always tastes good. Oh, I hate beets. But these are something you can just direct seed into the garden bed, easy. Cantaloupe, that also takes up a lot of room. These watermelons are really cute. Cantaloupe and watermelon you can train up, kind of like I did with the cucumbers last year, so they don't take up as much space. Basil's always an easy one to restart, or I mean to transplant. Cilantro comes up really fast. I'll say the parsley takes a little bit longer, so we'll start some of that. We got greens for the rabbit. The celery, I don't know why you'd want white celery. Put that over with radishes. Can be started easily, and actually we're running right into the time of year where can plant the radishes and carrots outside. Some peppers, we can start those in the trays. I got a lot of nice peppers. They always make always like my egg omelets with a little bit of peppers. Lettuce, I think we can direct seed that. I'm not going to start that early. I also have this lettuce that's already started in the trays. It's still a little early for the lettuce without protection though. Swiss chard. I guess I'm gonna put that in one of the trays. That's always so pretty. Some cucumbers. We've got a lot of cucumbers. Cucumbers also have a delicate root system, so it's better to start them in plugs instead of a tray like this. A little lemon cuke. Definitely have a lot of cucumbers. Some more squash. I'm glad we got the yellow zucchini. I don't eat a ton of zucchini, and you don't need, I would say you don't need much more than 5 or 6 zucchini plants. The trick with zucchini is you want to plant it multiple times. So if you only plant it once, it doesn't provide you zucchini all summer. But if you plant it 2 or 3 times through the summer, it will continue off into the fall. Here's some carrots. I'm gonna try to plant some of the carrots today, and some carrots. We've got a lot of really nice varieties of carrots. They did really well last year, except for the deer eating them. But the fence should should fix that. I like this red one. Lots and lots of carrots. When we ordered seeds from they sent us a bunch of extra packets of carrots and stuff like that. Tomatoes are the same way as the zucchini. In the farm, when I worked at the farm, we used to plant 3 or 4 plantings of tomatoes, and I think it was 3 plantings we would do, not counting the one that we started early in the greenhouse for greenhouse tomatoes, but 3 out in the field, and they'll peter off just like zucchini does if you don't plant that second planting. Definitely have way more seeds than I'll ever plant. I'm thinking maybe I will grow some extra to either give away or sell. I'm not 100% sure, just because I have a lot of little starting plugs, and tomatoes do transplant very, very well. Peas, they have to be planted very soon also. I would say at the same time as the carrots. And the beans, I always direct plant them, but they want to wait at least a month to go outside. We're zone 7 here, so we do get a frost until about early May. So we have a whole nother month of everything that you put outside you have to really watch and protect. So because a frost will kind of, I don't know, kill it. And then this side over here is mostly the flowers. Got lots of zucchinis. One of my favorites for butterflies and hummingbirds is the Mexican sunflowers. They grow real tall. They cut well also. But I found a red one this year. I've never had a red. Normally they come in like a bright orange. I think I also ordered a yellow one of those. Lots of zinnias. Zinnias do get the powdery mildew, and the Mexican sunflower grows a lot like a zinnia, a little bit bigger, and doesn't get as bad at powdery mildew. But the goldfinches and all the little birds really love their seeds too. Same on the zinnias. Got a lot of nice zinnias though. I think next year, if things go back to normal, my plan is with all the flower beds that we're making, we're going to plant flowers. I mean, with the vegetable beds we're making, we're going to plant flowers in the vegetable beds, so we can sell some cut flowers when we go to the flea market. Cosmos is one of also really, really nice. Definitely like how they cut in arrangements. And we've got a ton of sunflowers just because I recommend staggering these, planting 5 or 6, maybe a little bit more direct into the ground every other day, and you'll tend to have sunflowers all fall and all most of the end of the summer. But these heads are huge. I remember growing these when I was a kid. Used to eat the sunflower seeds. So it looks like the only thing we're gonna start today, I don't know if we'll get a flower on the yarrow if we plant it this year. I think it's a biennial, but we'll try. Straw flowers. I really like the straw flowers. Some dill and more green beans. Oh, I like this black bean. That's pretty cool. All right, so I did get my soil in. I get a seed starting mix, just so it keeps down on the mold, especially when you're not doing it in a greenhouse where the air circulation is probably the worst thing about doing them inside. Even having a little fan on them after they germinate definitely will help. I keep them misted with a squirt bottle, but that's one of the reasons I got the plug starter mix. But I'm going to open this bag up and I'll show you what else I got. So I also bought these trays. They're fairly expensive. They're about $1 each from the wholesaler. But so I bought these trays at the wholesaler. What's nice about them is you don't need, since they're nice and thick, they cost about $1 each. Maybe they're a little bit more, $1.50 each. But you can see it's nice and sturdy. Technically, I don't need a tray to slide in underneath it. And I can always cut them into like a 4-pack if I wanted to give some away. But the tomatoes, instead of starting each seed in one of these and taking up all my space inside, we're going to start in these trays. And the zucchini and squash and cucumbers will start in here because their root system doesn't do as well for transplanting. And that should cut down in the surface area for where I have to start stuff, because you can see these will, 3 of these will take up basically most of my grow light. Oh, I have to show you guys the grow light that I got out of the estate clean out too. The other thing we came up with was we're going to make 3 more beds going this length. They're going to be about 50 foot long, so there's going to be 3 beds just like these 3 that are right here. These are about 50 foot long, running the length of this area right here. So since the soil here was so nice, our plan is to, and they did really well last year, we're going to start the carrots in this raised bed. And I'm going to put one more 35 foot bed or 36 foot bed right here. I think that's where I have room for it. So I'll have 4 35 foot beds and 3 50 foot beds. So I guess I'm trying to add up how much square footage and beds what we're going to have. Because if I had 3 more 50 foot beds, that's 300 feet with these 3. 400 feet with this one right here. We'll have close to 500 foot of plantable beds, just because I'm gonna, with whatever soil we have left, we're going to add 1 or 2 beds on this side. In the summer, this is all full sun, just because the sun kind of runs straight over. All right. So before I started the seeds, I went and worked on the flower bed for, or the garden bed for the carrots. I figured I'd plant a few of the carrots today. It's definitely a nice day. Only big problem is the soil is a little too wet, so all I could work on was the raised bed. We took out all the stakes for the tomatoes, moved the ladder, and pulled out all the clumpy dirt, so that way the seeds would have a nice bed to lay in. Normally I don't do it this nice, but we had a lot of I guess time, so we worked on that. I think I'm going to plant 2 or 3 of the carrots now. I'm going to add some of the red. I'll probably do a third of this bed, maybe half this bed in carrots. That way we can pick out a bunch of the small ones and eat them as baby carrots. All right, let's go get the red carrot seed. So I got the yellow and purple. I'm going to plant them last. I think what I'll do is I'll show you how I plant the first one, and then I'm going to put it on time lapse for a bit. I guess we'll have to do this. So there's a lot of carrot seeds in one packet. This should plant, I would say, if you did a 1 row, probably 30 feet if you space it right. Again, I'm going to thin these as they start to grow, but I like to just kind of tap them out like this, one at a time, and move it slowly down the line. You don't really need to cover these guys up. As you water it, I'll probably do 4 or 5 rows of, you can kind of see them as they fall right in. I'm not left-handed, so this makes it pretty tricky. I just can't really hold the camera with my left hand that well. I know everybody's saying get a chest mount, but then you wouldn't be able to see this, just because my chest is not going to be anywhere near as close as the camera is right now. I would say the seeds that are coming up, or the seeds that I'm planting, probably have 90% germinate. So it's actually pretty good. And the carrots want to be at least an inch apart after they come up. I give them about 4 or 5 inch spacing each row. Last year the carrots did real well. It's just the deer, you can see how many I did for that. This is 5 foot. The deer ate the heck out of my carrots. Probably every time I came out they would chew the top off. We still got little carrots, but I figure that's about where I want to be on that next row. So I'm just using to make a little trench so that way I can stay straight. I guess it's only 4 foot, this bed. I thought it was 5 foot. My girl's working on the next bed. We decided to do one wide bed here. Probably gonna plant tomatoes in that. All right. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of these carrots, and I still have probably enough for 2 more rows. Since the rows are 4 foot, that's 20 feet of carrots right there. And I still have, oh shoot. I'm talking with my hands. I spilled some seed, not a lot, but I still have all those to plant. I don't know, might end up being a whole bed of carrots, especially if I'm going to give a bunch away. It might be the thing to do, just because they did grow very well last year. Alright, I'm going to do the purple, and then I'll show you how I plant the tomatoes. I got 8 varieties of carrots planted. I went all the way to right here, so I did 2/3 of the bed in carrots. Definitely more carrots than I'll ever eat, but I'm gonna plant some radishes here, and maybe some what else? Beets? Oh yeah, the beets. So that's the plan. I could plant Swiss chard there. All right. Definitely see how much wider this bed is. It's should look pretty good. Have all the potatoes planted. We'll dig one up in about 2 weeks to see if they're growing. Tomatoes, I just fill up these containers, and basically how I planted the carrots, I'm gonna wet this soil, and we'll just make little rows and plant the tomatoes and use little sticks to mark what they are. It saves a lot of space, especially when you're growing inside, and once they germinate, you can always bring this little tray out. Definitely makes it easier. So the only problem is it's soil's kind of dry, so I gotta go get the watering can and water that in. Actually got one right here. So all right. It's out of water. Oh well, I got it. Oh man, talk about not easy to do with one hand. Well, for this one, yeah, it might have worked pretty well as a chest mount, but that should be pretty good. I'll let it dry for a minute, and basically you just make the lines and plant the seeds in the rows. Makes it pretty easy. They can be fairly close together because you're going to transplant them into the other trays. Definitely you can see how it will work. All right, thank you guys very much for watching. I still having a bunch of spring flowers come up. Our little magnolia tree is doing definitely pretty great today, so almost like they're fake how perfect they are. All right, see everybody later. Peace. Please be safe, and if you haven't yet, give somebody a call. It's definitely a lonely time. Thank you.